But for everybody listening and watching, right, before we even get into like who Wendell Davis, the basketball player, is, what is ENS? I feel like we've already talked our brand and everything. You tell us about what you got going on and what it's about.
ENS, everybody needs somebody.
Yep.
I think that goes for everybody. I don't think it's just, when I say everybody needs somebody, I mean, you can use this in any phase of life. When you think about some of the times where you're down and maybe need help, and just in general, I always say in the simple form, you think of a business isn't successful in case people buy.
Yeah.
So like whether you take it to the highest of heights and you think about the richest person or you think about the brokest person, and I think mentally when I came out with it, it was because of COVID, and I was thinking about so many people going through things as far as losing family members. But then, like I said, just in general, we all need each other. The reason that we all become who we are is because of the people that we meet and the encounters that we have.
Yeah.
And without that, we are nothing. And I say this, how you're raised, the friends that you're around, the experiences that you have, we all need each other. And the sooner that we recognize this and understand that you make the next person better, I feel like us as a world will be better.
Yeah.
It's easier said than done. It takes a lot of steps, but that's where the whole thought became everybody needs somebody. And
Yeah.
my biggest thing was being overseas. I had a best friend. He was a teacher. His name's Jeff Jones.
Yeah.
Called me every day, every morning. He got up at 6 o'clock in the morning. That was 12 o'clock in the afternoon my time.
Yeah.
And he talked to me.
And that was somebody.
That was somebody.
That was somebody.
During a time I didn't know. And there's been multiple people, and I go to say, like, with me now winning a championship, a lot of people are like, man, great job. You deserve it. You deserve it. You worked hard. And yes, I agree with that. But then I think about there's so many people along the way that have touched me or made me better, even these last couple of years. If it wasn't for so many coaches and friends and teammates and friends and families, I'm not the champion that I am. So yes, I'm a champion, but I say those people that were around me, you're champions too, because you built me to get here.
Yep.
So that's
It's
where
so
the
true,
whole
man. You're standing on the shoulders of giants, man.
Yep.
Like there's people who maybe they don't have the name or the recognition, but like they helped you get to where you are.
100%.
And on top of that too, it's just like, no leader is great without the team around him, right? You're only as good as the team that you build around you.
Yep.
Too. So, if that's professionally or if that's in life, like we all got teams.
Agree. And another thing, like you just said, a leader. Before you're a leader, you got to be a student.
Yeah.
And I've accepted being a student for so many years, and I'm still a student now. I don't think you ever stop being a student. And that's what's made me who I am today, is just trying to learn. And I tell all of my friends, I take so many pieces of different people.
Yep.
And I just add it to who I am to become what I am.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's where, like I said, your friends and the people that you're around, that's where they help out a lot.
Yeah. So Wendell Davis, you and I met back at good old AU.
Good old
We're both
AU.
wearing the purple and gold.
Yes.
You were playing basketball, I was playing football. Just running. I mean, it's a small campus. Like obviously all the athletes, everybody knows each other. But I think I obviously saw what you were doing on and off the court. I think you probably saw some of the same things with me.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, I wore 32 in high school, so I was always 3-2. That meant a lot to me. I was like, this guy's obviously cool.
Yep.
You're wearing 3-2.
I love it.
Yep. But then you had a incredible career at AU. I know people still talk about Wendell Davis at AU. Talk about your time playing at Ashland, playing basketball, maybe high school and how you got there. And then, we'll talk about, I feel like, for a long time, the professional days and what you've been doing since. But tell me about high school to AU. What was your deal?
One, the number 32, I'll say that was because of LeBron. I know he wore that during high school, I believe. And he had that was why I chose the number 32. And then I also wore the number 10 because Nick Baps.
Yeah.
What happened with Nick Baps.
Yeah.
So
and I wore 10 in football.
Him. Yep.
Yep.
So I was like, I want to make sure I represent him. But college was a great time, man. I had a lot of great friends, a couple of them being Mike, Adrian, and Boo, Marcellus, Teddy. Made some good relationships.
All good
man.
dudes.
And you learn a lot during that time, man, because that's when you're just kind of trying to figure out life and school in itself. And then playing basketball at a smaller school, I learned a lot too, because as you know, football, you guys were up there. You guys were always great. And then women's basketball, they were always phenomenal.
Yeah.
So with me playing basketball, we just wanted to make sure we brought some more success to the school, and we were able to do that. And I had a great coach by John Ellenwood who was able to coach me. And that's where I kind of learned to I would have a good game, probably play good, and John Ellenwood would come quickly and tell me, like,
bring you back down.
Yep.
You
had 30 points today. Great job, Wendell, but you could have had 40. And
that's for me, my mom.
Same today. And but I feel like that's what gives us that extra.
Yep.
People wonder, why can you do so much, or how are you like this? And it's because of things like that. And once I learned to accept that from him, then we became a lot closer in our relationship. I mean, to this day, I texted him maybe 2 weeks ago. He congratulated me on winning. So it's like, but those days in Ashland, man, those made me a lot. And another thing too is having that injury. I tore my ACL.
Yep.
Had to sit out a year, and I feel like that actually made me realize too, any given day you can lose something like this.
It can be all over, man. It can be all over.
So when you learn that, you just kind of, you appreciate it more. And me now, I go to practice every day, and I think about, like, I'm playing the game that I love at a high level.
Yeah.
I can't beat that. So, but that's the university, man. I've had some great years there. I was able to break a lot of records and have some success with some great guys, and I'm grateful for it. If I'm not mistaken, I think 5 or 6 players that I played with were 1,000-point scorers.
Yeah.
So as good as I was, those were great.
You guys were so good. And it was like, I feel like you were part of the building. Honestly, I feel like you guys had a few down years here and there, but like I feel like your leadership and that group that you talked about, all those guys, like you were a part of what made you guys great, like your later years.
Yep. And it was friendships, man. Me, Adrian, Boo, Mike, Marcellus, those guys, I could call all of them today, and all of them would pick up. So I think that shows that it wasn't just a moment. We were real guys. We were real friends. And, just with anything, when you're good friends, it makes everything a lot more easier.
Yeah.
So playing basketball for us it was fun and natural.
I think, too, we're biased, but, like, talking to people, the support staff, coaches, strength coaches, whoever it may be, like, looking back on that time, too, like, I think that was like the golden era for AU athletics. Like, not to say anything bad about like before or after, like there was good teams separately, but you want to talk about like across the board between women's basketball, men's basketball, football, track, like just champion. And the whole campus was kind of like, we felt pretty good about ourselves across the board. Like it was a cool place to be in a small town, man.
And then you look at the success and the things that they're doing now.
Yep.
And I look back, I went to the school, I think last year, and I seen the the locker room, the football, and you think for Division II, they're doing pretty good, man.
Yeah.
And like you said, I would like to think we had a lot to do with where it's at now and the progress that they've made. But yeah, we had an impact, man, and it was great to be a part of it, man. Like you said, it was a lot of different teams having a lot of success.
Yeah,
so that challenges.
Did you look at other places other than Ashland?
I did, but it was other D2s. I maybe wanted to go to Findlay, but for my mom, 1, academics were huge, and 2, when I talked to Coach Ellenwood, he told me, like, if you come here, you're going to have to work for your spot and stuff, but we haven't had success in a lot of years, and for me, that was like, I want to take this challenge.
Yep.
I don't know about you, but I'm a guy where, I'll put it in football terms, if I had a scholarship to go to Alabama, I wouldn't want to just be another guy.
No.
I would want to be a guy that can stick out and show the impact that I made.
Yeah, and you want to be a part of something.
Yes.
Yeah, you're just not another guy.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I mean, I say that to say being another guy isn't always bad because some of those guys are super special, so I understand it. But for me, I wanted to be able to show the impact, and throughout the years, we were able to do that. Made the NCAA tournament, I believe, 2 or 3 years, and then we won the conference 1 year. So for me, that was a blessing, man.
That was incredible. Yeah, so, I think that's obviously huge, and I think it's true, and people may say that they were better, or what's going on today is better now.
You know how that goes, though. You can never really pull out.
Well, somebody's going to watch this and be like, these are old guys yelling at the clouds now.
Exactly.
Are you 30 yet?
No, I'm right there, though. I got about 2 years. Literally a year and a month.
Yeah, I was going to say, I just turned 30. Yeah, that's right. You're July.
Yep.
Right?
July.
Yeah.
We're old heads.
It hurt, man. It hurt. Yeah. But it's all good. We're doing things now. So you get done at AU, and I've talked about this with some other people. It's like, what's next, right?
Mm-hmm.
I always had, I knew I wasn't going to play professional football, right? That dream went away for a long time ago, right? But I was like, okay, medicine's going to be there for me. I can make a difference there. I'm going to go to medical school. So I kind of knew what was coming next, even if maybe I enjoyed playing football a little more. For you, how did you decide, all right, I'm going to keep chasing this dream. Like, I'm going to go play professionally.
So I tell people this, and it sounds crazy, but during college, I wanted to play overseas, but I never actually looked at the process or how it worked out or anything. I kind of just went about, I'm going to keep going, and hopefully an agent reaches out. And I was grateful that I played good enough to where I had maybe 3 or 4 agents that reached out. And I say shout out to Evan Yates. He did a great job, and he left me a lot that I could actually grab from, whether it was how he played and what he did there. So I was able to talk to some agents, and then I was like, okay, overseas is real. And then I started to learn more and more about it, but nobody ever really gives you the full, this is what it's like, this will be your experience.
I feel like you have to experience it for yourself.
Yep.
I mean, that's one of those things, man. It's literally a foreign world.
Yes.
Like, it is just so foreign.
Especially for Division II guys. Division I, I'm not going to say that they have it easier, but when you're overseas, they know you're Ohio State, you're Kentucky's. They know you're big schools, but when you hear Wendell Davis from Ashland, you don't know. They can't tell you the difference between the GLIAC and then some ish-posh school. So it was tough, but my first year I was able to get an agent, and then we were able to talk some things out.
And that was right out of college. There was no time.
Yep, it was right out of college. I got an agent, and my first job was in Spain.
Yeah.
And he told me, he said, you got to go improve. And it's funny, my first year, I told you we talked about this before. My first year, he told me, you're going to make 350 euros per month. And in my mind, this was a 4th division, and I'm thinking, Mom, what am I doing? I could go get a
You got to see the bigger picture, though.
Yes. Yeah. And that's where Mom came in. She told me, she said, you go, show them who you are, not only as a basketball player, but as a person.
Yeah.
Basketball is important, but when they see who you are as a person and see how you go about yourself, I think they'll like you. And I was grateful. My first year, I was able to win a championship in 4th division. And then after that, we were able to promote. And then that story goes on from there.
Yeah. Same agent from day one?
No, I actually switched agents going to France. I'll tell you a little bit about that as we go on, too.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So you played what? You said 4 years in Spain?
I did. Okay, so I did 2 years Spain, and then I did 4 in France.
4 in France.
My first year in Spain, we won a championship. We got promoted to the 2nd division. And then they asked me to come back and play in the 3rd division. And then that's when COVID had came. Our season ended. And then I had my agent, and this is a crazy story. I asked him, I said, I want to play in France. I heard the lifestyle might be a little different and better, and I want to see something different. And he told me, you're not athletic enough, and I don't think you'll be good enough to play in the division that I just won a championship in.
Really?
So I said, okay, and I fired my agent.
Another challenge.
Yep.
Right? You know, I was talking about this, man. Like, as many people as you and I talked about, like, we're standing on the shoulders of giants, and, like, you know, we're building on our experiences from others. There is also so many people who motivate you in different ways, and there's the haters, right? Like, you got your burn book, right? And like those people are important, like absolutely important.
You think of your great players, though. I mean, you think about any sport. You think about anybody that's been great at something. They had some type of hate, or you can't get it done. You could go through Kobe, LeBron, Michael Jordan. Not say basketball because that's my sport, but everybody gets criticized. You think of Patrick Mahomes in football. They're looking at ways to start to critique him to bring him down. So when you learn that, that's just a part of the game. You can't take offense to it.
It's a part of everything.
Even that builds you.
Even hustled, you know, even ENS. Like, there's people like, who are you to have a brand? Like, who are you to have another brand? There are people, I know there's people talking. That's it. But guess what? Both of these things, it's all positivity. Like, why, if you are someone who is talking about somebody who is trying to do something positive for others and about others and trying to build people up, then you probably need to look in the mirror. Right?
Like, those people don't normally look in the mirror.
No, they don't.
Because there's talkers and there's doers. The doers aren't worried about talkers. They're just doing what they do.
Yeah, man.
So that's the difference. So like you said, and it's two things that we actually believe in. I can say I believe in ENS, and if you say it out loud, a lot of people believe in it. So when you truly believe in it, it rubs off the shoulders. I feel like for some people where they maybe are doing something they're not too sure about, it could bother you because you're not sure. But when you're sure in it, and playing sports, we always had to be sure in who we were playing sports.
And you're more comfortable maybe putting yourself out there. I feel like there's a lot of people, everybody's got some mantra. Everybody lives by some, motto.
I agree.
But there's only a handful of people maybe ballsy enough to put it out there. So when you do that, you're opening yourself up to criticism.
I agree.
And we've opened ourselves up to criticism our whole lives, and even to this day, right? If I don't perform well in the operating room, I'm going to hear about it. And it's, I have a responsibility and a standard to uphold, and at the end of the day, if I'm not doing it, it's just like a coach. If I miss my assignment on the field, I'm going to hear about it.
Isn't it funny how the sports and the real world, they mesh together, for us at least? You can compare them so much. Like you said, criticized. You've played a sport for years and years. You've been criticized since you were young to the point of getting to the highest level that you could get to. So when you use that
you don't know any different.
It's the same thing.
And like, obviously you take with the constructive criticism, the same thing can be said about the positivity that you get or the accolades, right? Like, you just won a championship, right? Like, you get different accolades along the way, and you accept it, and you're happy, and you appreciate it, and you're like, thank you. But at the same time, you're like, it makes you uncomfortable. You're like, nah, I don't, thanks, but no thanks. Like I don't accept a compliment, and I'm like, makes my skin crawl a little bit. I'm just like, nope, just let me keep working, just doing my job, right? Like people, and even patients will thank you, and I'm like, just doing my job. Like that's.
And I'll say this: one thing that I've gotten better with is being present in the moment.
Yeah.
And for as many days that we didn't have it that are bad or so, we'll sit on those or we'll ponder on those. So I say to say, if you have a bad moment, you're thinking, why was it bad? How can I change it?
Yep.
I got to be better next time. So I'm getting better at when someone tells me, okay, good job or something, taking it all in and like soaking in it, because there's so many times, for me at least, a bad game can go for 48 hours of just going in my mind. And the good game goes, oh, that was good, but now I got to get back to. So I get that. And it's funny, even with me winning a championship, I've already fast forward to next year. I know it's Pro B. People already don't think I can play here. Now I have to prove myself. It's not even. I'm not even home for a week yet, and my brain is already telling you have to be better than what you were before. You just won a championship.
So you just get done. You're going up to Pro B now. Who is the team you're playing for? Right? Go ahead.
Come, CBC.
Yeah.
Wonderful, wonderful city. Crazy fans. I love the fans.
It's CANE, Con?
Yep.
Con?
Yep.
Okay. And then what is the team name?
Con Basket. Yep.
Okay. I thought it was like who's the mascot though?
Our mascot is like I don't know how to describe it. It's like a.
Because I looked it up. I looked it up.
I want to see the picture myself.
Hold up.
But it's like a.
Hold up.
I want to see the picture you find too.
Well, I'm pretty sure what it's called.
Cause I got them on my.
The Calvados?
Calvados, yep.
Okay, I looked it up. Do you know what it is? It says it's an apple brandy, which is like well known to France.
Let me see. I want to see this.
Hold
about to give me some knowledge on a team I'm playing with. That's funny. Calvados, yep.
What kind of alcohol is Calvados?
Oh, see, no, yeah, I don't.
Yeah.
It's probably, I guarantee those don't even go. You know how many times that happens where it's a word or something and they don't correlate at all?
Yeah, so I was like, I just saw like a wine bottle running around.
Yeah,
out there,
no. It's like some type of animal, but we don't have. Yeah, but it's a wonderful city. The people love basketball. It's a great place to be. I can say I've spent a lot of years overseas, and I've had fun all of my years, but this is a year where I didn't stress about coming home as much just because the city I was in was kind of felt similar to home, me being in Columbus, where I had a lot of things to do and see.
Yeah.
So it was nice.
So you spent all this time in a literal foreign country where you don't speak the language you're in. How do you get around, like, talk a little bit of the life away from basketball?
So the life away from basketball, one, you got a lot of free time. Basketball doesn't change, just like football doesn't change once you get to the highest level. You have practice, but there's only so much practice you can do throughout a year. So a lot of a preseason looks like 2 practices per day, maybe 10 in the morning, 4 in the afternoon. Once you get into the season, you might have 10 in the morning and then the rest of your day is free.
Yeah.
So for me, I do a lot of yoga. I do a lot of stretching. My free time, I like to get out, maybe go bowling, see some friends. But just like anything, if you move to a new city, you kind of start to find your groove and where you go.
Yeah.
Maybe you go here for the gas station, you go here to eat.
Yeah.
Same thing being there, and those people start to see you, and they know that you're American, so they'll help you. And what they like to see is you give the effort.
Yeah.
If you give the effort to at least try and say a couple things, then it's good. So I've learned to speak a lot slower, and then I've learned to use my hands as well. But this year, I want to actually be able to speak French. So
I am Wendell.
yes, it's hi, how are you? I'm good. Can I have something to eat? It's so many things that you learn.
Hysterical.
Oh man, and it also can be stressful, man, because you get a lot of free time, and the lifestyle is completely different. It's funny you talked about health. We're so bad, and when I say we're so bad, I mean the U.S. we're so bad with the things that we eat.
Yeah.
The thing, like the way of life. I'm not going to say the way of life, but as far as how we eat and how we go about things, man. When you see Europe, everyone that's visited me has said they've either lost weight or stayed the same, and they haven't. I mean, it's just, you got to experience it. They don't eat to. You're not seeing a Wendy's or
themselves.
No, and it's completely different. And they actually advertise a more healthier life. You're going to see a lot more fruits and vegetables at your stores. You're going to see people eating fruits and vegetables.
Yeah.
Even for your restaurants, they're not open late. They close at maybe 10 or 11. So after 11, you can't just go somewhere and get food.
Yeah.
So it's just, even that, you think here, if it's 11, you're like, oh, let's go pick up. No.
Yeah. Shit's closed.
It's different, man.
Yeah. Sorry, bud.
Man, you see me right now.
I know. That was the first thing I thought, man. I saw you. I was like, dude, the withered away to nothing, man.
Yep.
What the?
Lean machine, man.
That's awesome. So you running up and down, no problem, huh?
No problem, and that's 10 months of running, man. Yeah. So that's one thing I've been able to learn, too, is being a professional, the way you treat your body is everything, man.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Everything. And even now, too, it's like I was talking just with somebody earlier. We were doing another one, and it's like I have a responsibility. It's like, who am I to preach health to people and then not take care of myself? Yep. Like, obviously, there are things stacked against me. Like, you got to take call. You got to be through the middle of the night. Like there's certain bad lifestyle habits that come with the territory.
Yes.
But from a day to day, if I'm a healthcare provider, I need to be a little extra conscious in my mind about being healthy, right? Or else I am not any person to speak to someone else about taking care of themselves.
Yep.
Yeah.
I agree, man. I agree.
Yeah. So for you get on the court, you're back in the basketball, you are coming into this season. Did you guys think you were winning a championship?
Yes. I have video proof. I have text messages.
Yeah.
Coach, from the start of the season, I told people it's possible. One, you got to have a little bit of luck, as everyone knows. Yeah. A lot of hard work, but I thought that we had the team. But just like anything, you got to build chemistry and you got to go throughout a season. And with us going through a whole season of ups and downs, it built us to get to that championship and be ready for it. So we literally played into the possible last game, game 3 at home, and we won by 1 point. And I give credit to
it. Looked wild.
Man, it was
so
crazy.
Did you? Okay, yeah, that's great. So you were telling me a little bit about the structure. You are the only American on the team then?
Yes, there's another American, but he has dual citizen. He's from Haiti. His name is Mark.
Okay, I got you. And then you win the championship. It looked like it was an electric environment. Is it like real? Like I know they were talking about in the finals and even in the NBA finals and stuff with Luka. They're like, you think Luka's going to be phased by Boston or anything? Because you see those videos online, like the fire and the flags and everything else. Is there any environment actually like that, or is that just something you see on Twitter?
No, every environment is crazy.
Those people are passionate.
Oh, passionate. Because you got to think, the way that I describe it is saying, like, imagine it's like Ohio State. Everyone loves Ohio State. This is if you're from here, you're from here.
Yep.
So it's the same being overseas. That city, they have pride in their team.
Yeah.
And there's people that I've seen that are fans for 10, 15 years. There were a lot of people who cried after the game because they've been a part of it, like, with us. So then I think of, like, the Boston Celtics, and it's funny, me seeing the games now overseas. Boston Celtics, you see their gym, and it's like, that's good.
I've been there, TD, yeah.
But when you think of Panathinaikos and those different, man, those gyms are, you're talking fire, you're talking shirt off, beer.
Yeah.
It's amazing, man. So that's one thing people don't get to see enough, but you're starting to see a lot of NBA players are starting to come back and go overseas and things like that because they're seeing, like, man, it's just as fun. It's maybe not as talented, but you still got a lot of great talent.
Yeah.
A lot of great talent.
Yeah, absolutely. I even think I saw one of the stories you reposted. I'm almost positive that the guy said you were their savior.
Yeah. They respect us, man, and they thank you for what you do. That's why I say when you buy in and they see that you're not just here for basketball. Like, I take my time, I talk to the fans. I probably got maybe 200 messages, and I responded to every single one of them.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So it just shows, like, they're like, you actually care and you appreciate, and they're like, we hope you see you next year. So, and some of them don't know, but I'll be back soon. So they're passionate, though, man. Those are some of the most crazy fans that there is. I really appreciate them.
That's crazy, man. Yeah, I saw this. I saw Savior, and I was like, all right, maybe a little dramatic. Maybe a little bit much.
I'll take it.
But again, it shows you what it means to people, man.
Yep.
That's awesome. So, the off season, how much time are you gonna spend at home? How much time are you gonna spend there?
I get about a month of off season, a month and a week, I think. I got to be back August 2nd. I'm going to spend a lot of time with family, a lot of time with friends, and really just sit back and relax. The stress of a season, man, and the stress of playing in playoffs and a finals, right now, the only thing I want to do is relax.
I know the one thing for you as a player that I always watching you, like obviously know the game, right? I would watch and I'd be like, you're what? I think you were listed like 6'5". You're not 6'5".
No, I'm about 6'4", 6'3".
Yeah, I was gonna say like
half on a good day.
I was like you and I standing next to each other. I was looking at you. I was like, we're not that much.
We're not too far
Hey,
off.
6'5", whatever. I know 6'5". My brother's like almost pushing 6'6" now.
So yeah, so you know what it feel.
Yeah, it makes me feel. Yeah, and like when I was saying, but you played at least at Ashland, and I don't know, over there, but you played bigger than your height. Like you always have.
Yep.
Your ability to rebound at your height, but also not be like you don't soar, right? Like I never saw you dunk.
Yep. And I've never dunked. It's funny you say that.
Yeah.
I've never dunked, and I've been a professional for 6 years.
Yep.
IQ, man. IQ and understanding the game. That's why I said I've been blessed to be taught by some great coaches.
Like that's something I feel like you need to instill into others because I'm not just sitting here glazing you because you're sitting here with me. Like your ability to rebound and play bigger than your height, but also not be somebody who just soars to the rim, right, is incredible. Like it's very unique.
Yep.
Yeah.
I say that to say John Ellenwood, I go back to him. He taught me a lot about the fundamentals of the games and like understanding positioning. And my coach, Coach Randy, he taught me just about aggression and understanding the game. And that's something that takes a long time to learn. And like you said, you got good things and bad things. So when you're athletic, you can jump. You're not thinking about where the ball might land or when you can't, you got to do something else.
Yeah.
So I've just been hit with, okay, I'm not athletic, so I got to learn positioning, one, of how to box out and where to be, and then two, just knowing if you shoot from the left side, 60% of the time it's coming off on the right. Just little things like that. So I've been able to learn it, man.
Yeah. Same things carried over there.
Same things carried over.
What were your numbers there?
This year I was able to average 12. I think it was 12, 4, and 4. I want to say it was around there.
Yeah.
And I was a leading scorer on our team with 12 points. And it was a good year. And in the past, I think I averaged a little over 15 a couple of years. But it shows I had to take a sacrifice this year, and Coach told us I averaged less points this year, but I became a champion.
Yep.
So buying into that was very, not difficult, but you just see like, okay, maybe less points, but then when it mattered the most with big games and stuff, I was able to be very productive.
Yeah. Talk the structure a little bit. So you guys have won this NM1 league. You're going to go up. What is up from here for you guys as a team then?
So right now, one, we're in Pro B. The goal for next season is to try to make the playoffs and one, for sure, stay in the league. I think with the team that we have and the talent we have, we can for sure stay in the league. And I think we just want to compete. And one thing I love about our coach, he kept, I think, 6 or 7 guys from the team. So it just shows, normally when you go up, sometimes you might try to get a bigger name or something like that, but he wants us to be able to go out and he knows we all have this thing inside of us to show, I can play at this level.
Yeah.
So our team is going to be built like that. So the biggest thing is just competing every day. And I think with the chemistry, when you keep 6 or 7 guys from the past senior
that helps,
championship,
man. Yeah.
helps out a lot.
Yeah.
You don't have to get through the, hey, how are you? No, it's just like, what's up? How was your summer? Let's get to it now.
Yeah. What are some names you've played against over there? Are there some dudes that people would know?
So the biggest name that I've ever played against, and it's funny you ask, this is for sure the biggest. Victor.
Really?
Played against him. He played for the young team, it was 2 years ago. And they said, like, this guy will be the #1 draft.
Yeah. So you played against Wemby, huh?
And I'm looking at him like, dog, there's no way. He can't even do
stick.
And then afterwards, I said, like, now, okay,
I see it.
I can see it. So that was by far probably the biggest player that I've played against. And I know this year I'll be able to play against some big players being in Pro B just because normally in France, when they have a young guy that's pretty good, he'll play Pro B.
Yeah.
And just to see where he's
Are there any
from there.
local guys like Columbus? Like Solinger was over there for a while. Is Jared still playing?
Jared's playing. I think he's playing in China right now.
Okay.
A couple of guys I know. Jamel Morris, he's played in France. He played at Gehenna. One of my other friends, Aaron, played in Morocco. So it's a couple guys playing, man. But it's a difficult life, man. People get to see the glitz and glamour of it, but like I say, imagine being in another country for 10.5 months.
No,
nobody speaks the language. It's different.
I really can't. And family and friends and everything. Like there's something about like moving away from home. Everybody moves away from home at some point, right? Maybe you don't, but everybody moves away, and like you're always still in the same country, and like you're not too far away. You're a flight away. Like when you're on the other side of the Atlantic, man.
It makes you got to mature quick.
Yeah.
And I learned that quick. That's why I said with the first contract being 350 euros a month.
Yeah.
I had to learn things very quickly, and I was grateful for that. But it also gives you another appreciation for being in another country, and then, like I said, their way of life, their way of thinking is completely different than ours.
Yeah.
You think about your average American wants to get after it every day, wants to be better. I mean, it's just a nonstop grind. In Europe, they work hard.
4-day work week, man. Yeah.
They got sometimes where, for example, this place we're at now, they'll come in from example, let's say 8 to 12, 12 to 2, they'll go home.
Yeah.
Then they'll come back from 3 to 7. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's like, wow, in the U.S., somebody's saying, if I go home, I'm missing money.
Yep.
So I'm going to work the rest of the day.
And your boss is looking at you like you're weak. Yeah.
And truth be told, it's not even about being weak, but as a human, should you have to work nonstop every day? I mean, it depends. If you want to, that's a difference.
Yep.
And if you love it, that's different.
Yep.
But most people don't love what they do and they're working nonstop. That's not an equal balance at all.
Yeah, for sure, man. That's crazy.
Yeah.
So how long you see yourself playing then?
Every year I say 2 to 3 years, but God has been great, and I never imagined, for example.
How do the knees feel? Because my knees are starting to bother me.
I tell people I'm still getting
good?
old. No, I'm getting old. The knees are good, and I always say whatever my body allows me to do, I want to do. Realistically, I don't want to play over 30 to 31 just because I want to get back here, and I have a girlfriend.
Yeah,
so
you got a life.
I want to get back to my normal way of life. It's very difficult having to come back, see people, and then I got to leave.
Yeah.
Come back, see people. So I want to get back to just being here. But then I'm also say that I'm living a dream and playing the sport that I love every day. And when I wake up, I've never once woke up and thought, man, I got to go to practice today. I wake up like, this is. So when that goes away, I think then I'll say like, okay, I'm done.
Yeah, whenever that day comes, man. Yeah, for sure. Okay, man. If you had one thing to tell, like you got a little kid out there listening or a high school kid, basketball player, what is that one piece of advice you have for them? Say they want to chase a dream in basketball, man. I mean, because, again, you may not be in the NBA. You may not. But when it comes to it, you still ran the race, right?
Yep.
You were still running it. You went every league, every phase, and you are playing a sport professionally, whether that be in another country or here. What would you say to a kid, from a big picture life standpoint who wants to chase a career in basketball?
I think Nipsey Hussle said it best. There's nothing different from me or anybody else. I just kept going.
Yeah.
I just kept going. Like I said, you couldn't have told me, and I almost get emotional. You couldn't have told me 5-6 years ago, Wendell, you'll be a champion. You'll be playing in France. You'll have a chance to show people again how great you can be. And I kept going. And there was multiple times and multiple days. A lot of people see the championship now and they wave and say congratulations, but a lot of people don't see the days where I was, whether it was crying or calling a friend or missing family or somebody passed away and I didn't get to be there with them.
You weren't there.
So I think biggest thing is keep going, and there's always brighter days. Although you might be in a dark spot at a moment, everything in life is a moment, and once you understand that it's a moment and it will pass, whether it's good or bad, and you have to keep going, I feel like that's when you actually start to find your inner, like, okay, I have higher heights. Because there's going to be good days and bad days. But to keep going, if you really love it and you really want to do it, if you keep going, at some point it'll work out. Might not be 1 year. I didn't know if it would be 2 years. I didn't know if I was going to play 6 years.
Yeah.
Now I'm in my 6th year winning a championship. I couldn't have said this a year ago, 2 years ago.
Yeah.
So just keep going. Don't ever give up, and don't let anybody belittle what you're doing. Your success is your success, and your happiness is your happiness. And we all have it at different levels. Some people look at things and they think it's success or happiness, but you got to find that from within.
Absolutely,
and
man.
Keep going. That's it. Keep going, man.
I couldn't echo that anymore, man. Like, you sit here and there's going to come a day where I'm going to, be done with the residency, be done with everything, and I'm going to be out there operating, and there's going to be people who will be like, oh, man, that guy's got a really good life. And it's like, I do. I'm very lucky and very blessed to be here.
And you did it.
Put a lot of work, and, you don't remember, or people don't see the bad times, like you said, and like the 2 years in the books, the first couple years of medical school where I did nothing but study. Right?
See, and nobody knows that, but you.
Yeah, and I'm sitting here with you, there's a beer in front of us, and people will watch this and be like, oh man, must be nice to be a doctor. Like, there were a lot of bachelor parties, weddings, get-togethers, half of my 20s. Yeah. So it's like, there is something to be said about that, man. You get up every day and you just keep going.
Keep going. And
just keep putting one foot in front of the next.
It's funny you say that because I say I'm a champion, right? But I played 6 years. Minimum of the season is 9 months. So you do six times 9. That's how much time I missed.
Yeah.
Of families, birthdays, Thanksgivings, Christmas.
Yeah.
So like, it all comes at an expense. I'm grateful for it, and I thank the man above for sure. But like you said, just keep going, man. It'll work its way out sooner or later.
Yeah.
You know.
I love that, man. Well, thank you for sitting down with me.
Thank you, man. I appreciate you, man. Thank you.
Yeah. Always a real one.
Yes, sir. Keep going, man.
Yep.